What's up, fellow citizens of the world? Jordan Patrick here, and welcome to my channel. So I poured us a nice glass of French red wine to talk about the things that I wish I would have known before moving to France. So for those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Jordan Patrick, and I'm an American that's been living abroad in France the last 7 years. I lived 4 years in Paris and now 3 years in the French countryside. So I have a lot that I wish I would have known before moving to France in the first place. So let's get started. On y va, c'est parti. Oh, I just brushed my teeth, so the mixture of minty fresh and red wine does not particularly go well together, but that's fine. Very first thing on the list that I really wish I would have known about before moving to France is something called la mutuelle. So when I first moved to France in 2014, I did a whole video about that if you want to watch like kind of why I went to France and how I moved there. I'm going to link that up above. But when I first moved there, I was going to be a student. Like I was studying full-time, but then I also had a part-time job on the side. Now, if you're working in France, you have rights to a mutuelle and a social security number. It's a healthcare system that France offers. And you won't have to pay for medication or to see the doctor. You might have to pay 20 euros or something up front, but then you're reimbursed through your social security and your mutuelle. So I really wish I would have known that. I ended up spending hundreds of euros during the first 4 years because I had no idea. The thing is, at my work, they did not teach us that because all the French people know about it and they're all like well aware. And me as a foreigner from the US, where we don't have that as an option, I was like very naive. So that is probably the biggest one. I put the biggest one right up front. This is something I really wish I would have known, and the most important thing for health and safety reasons. Like, yes, you have a mutuelle in France and it would have saved me a lot of money. Okay, for the second one, I mean, I think it's a very well-known stereotype that the French are rude. That is not the case at all. So in the French culture, it's very common to critique. It doesn't mean that you did something really bad or that they don't like you or whatnot, but critiquing is a part of French culture. In the beginning, this was something that I was really like, what the heck? Am I doing everything so wrong? But the thing is, like, if you're not doing a good job, it's not even worth commenting on. That sounds really weird, but like they are critiquing you because it's worth critiquing. Like you're doing something good enough to receive a critique. So they will give you a positive note, but then they will also kind of contradict that with something that you could do better. This is a sign of respect, and it's a sign that you're doing something right. Yeah, I really wish I would have known that ahead of time, and I wouldn't have taken critique in such a negative light, but it's actually something pretty positive. So if you're getting critiqued, it's a good thing. So my third one is about dating, and I've actually done a couple of videos about this already. One in English, one in French, so whichever language you speak or would like to improve the other one, I will link both of those up above if you want to check those out. But I would say dating is very different between the US and France. I go into details about why. So yeah, that was my third point, but go watch those other ones if you want to see more about that. Okay, so my next point is about tennis, which I'm a tennis player since I was really young. So I really wish I would have known how the FFT works in France, but I've only really been competing for the last 3 years here in Limoges. So in France, you have to be subscribed in a tennis club to then play competition. So if you're an athlete and you plan on moving to France and you want to participate in sporting events, I recommend searching for different club teams to play for because it's going to be a lot cheaper actually to play here in France because it's a very socialistic environment, but you do have to belong to a facility or a society. And that can also be a good way to meet new people and to make some friends that enjoy a similar pastime to yourself. So yeah, I would really recommend for the athletes that want to continue playing tennis or other sports to look into club teams. Okay, so this next point is actually something that I really wish I would have known ahead of time, and that is you have to literally save all of your documents, like all of them. No joke. I didn't know this until my current job that I'm at now, and my boss told me, like, always save your payslips. Why? It's for retirement. Like, I really wish I would have known this ahead of time, like at my first job in Paris, because I would have kept those payslips. But no, that's not the case, because in the States, I never, ever kept my payslips. Like, no, you get your check, you cash it in, and then you move on. But in France, you never know when things can get lost, or if a business goes under. If you don't have those payslips, you can't prove that you were working and paying during that time. You weren't gathering your points. That's another point, is that while you're working in France and you're receiving a paycheck, you gain points quarterly. Those points that you gain go towards your eventual retirement. The next point is dealing with making friends in France. Now in the States, it's pretty easy to make friends at school or just in life in general. Like, people are pretty open and, are quick to become friends with people. But in France, it does not work like that at all. You have to gain the trust of the French people. I got thirsty. Now, I got super lucky when I was moving to France because I knew that I would be moving there 6 months later. And so when I was just visiting France, I made some very good friends just in the street. And this was super random, but Sarah, ma biche, I love you, Sabrina, Cécile, je vous aime. And I met these 3 friends just randomly in the street, but because they are not like the other French, because they are super outgoing and will talk to anyone. Normally, you're not gonna stop someone in the street and just talk to them. But these girls are different. And I wish I would have known in advance that that's not really how things work. And you're not gonna meet a lot of French friends like that. Here, they're very slow to call someone their friend. They're quick to call someone their colleague or a friend from school or a friend from tennis. They will always categorize friends from where they know these people from, but their friend or their vrai ami, there's steps. And to become real friends with someone, slowly reach that point. It's not gonna come quick as it could happen in the States. And so yeah, that's definitely something I wish I would have known in advance. Another point I'm gonna mention real quickly is I wish I would have been more minimalistic from the beginning because it would have made moving around a lot easier. So styles change, and I recommend people to come with only small amounts of things. You don't want to be lugging around a bunch of stuff that you no longer wear because you just don't like it anymore, or you want to fit more into the new culture that you've moved into. Yeah, I would say I wish I would have been more minimalistic from the beginning. Ooh, another big one that I wish I would have started in the States, and you'll see what I mean by that. When I moved to Paris, I was always taking public transportation. I didn't actually have to get a car until I moved to the French countryside, where public transportation isn't as easy or available as it is in Paris. And I wish I would have known that I would be driving a stick shift here in France. Well, I could just say Europe in general, because in Europe, they're much more used to driving manual shift. And if you don't get your driver's license exchanged into the French one within the first 6 months of living in France, then you have to get your French license. Now that whole process took me about 9 months. Firstly, you have to pass le code de la route, which is like the written test, and it is difficult, it is stressful. You're limited on time for each answer. Oh my gosh, it's like thinking about it, it's stressing me out because it took me probably 6 months just to pass this test. And I was studying like every day for 6 months. Oh, and it's all in French. So that was like a very stressful situation, time period, and I was so proud to accomplish that feat. But the code was the absolute nightmare of a time. That's definitely something I would have liked to have known from the beginning. There's only 13 states that have an agreement with the French driver's license. So if you're not from one of those 13 states, that's definitely something to look into. But yeah, that's something I really wish I would have known ahead of time. I would have saved probably 9 months of my life. What can you do? You can get your international license or switch your driver's license and then you're fine. So yeah, definitely recommend doing that. You know, there's this little gnat that has been flying around Okay, so for this last one, it's probably the most heartfelt one and the one that means the most to me. And that's, I wish I would have known that I would still be here 7 years later and that I would be waiting for French nationality. Now, becoming French to me has been my goal in the last 5 years because I feel at home here. Like, I had no idea that I would be completely leaving the US, at least for a long extended period of time. But I really wish I would have known that I would create such a life here, and then just kind of accepted the adventure that I was going on, and then just kind of start the whole process with a totally fresh mind. In the beginning, I was really comparing so often the US and France, but that's something that is very common to do as an expat when you first move away, is like you always compare everything to your home country, which is a very natural thing to do because that's your reference points, and then you're comparing how it is in your new culture that you're living in. In the beginning, someone keeps texting me. Yeah, in the beginning, I would have came in with like a fresh mind. I just would have had a much different experience, especially in the beginning. So I hope that this video as to things that I wish I would have known before moving to France have now helped you prepare for moving to France if that's your plan, or if maybe you've already moved here and you are looking for some extra guidance from people with experience. I hope that this video has given you some lights and some knowledge and, I don't know, maybe some goals for the future. And if you did like this video and you found it helpful, please give this video a thumbs up. Please let me know in the comments below if there's anything else that you would like to learn about or know about based on my experiences here in France. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. À la prochaine. Ciao, ciao for now. And also, I post videos on Wednesdays and on the first Sunday of every month in French. So, yeah, I will see you in the next one. À la prochaine. Ciao, ciao for now. It's really, really good, actually. Now that the toothpaste has gone away, that is some good stuff. Okay, bye.